Hi everybody, my name is Richard Urey. I work with the County Health Department in the Human Services Division. I started there about a month ago at the beginning of this lockdown, so I've been working from home like a lot of people have. I'm fortunate to be working from home and also dealing with a lot of the same things that folks out there are. We've got a little one here and we're both trying to work and still maintain a household. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about stress and how to reduce stress, cope with anxiety at different levels. And my background in this is prior to working for the county, I had 6 years at Compass Health running treatment groups. The curriculum was dialectical behavioral therapy, where we talk about mindfulness for day-to-day management of emotions, emotion regulation for dealing with intense unwanted emotions, and then distress tolerance is when things are beyond our capacity to respond or control. And so people might be all over the scale within those different realms of stress, right? And some people may not be feeling any stress at all in this situation. We all have these different degrees of resilience that seem to come out in different situations. So some of the mental health issues that we're hearing about right now are increased intakes and increased new clients for counselors. I think that's a good sign that people are reaching out for someone to talk to. There's a lot of stress coming from parents right now. When schools were shut down, I was very worried about kids' anxiety levels, and we're hearing more about parents than kids right now, and that trying to balance that work or being out of work with being at home and having little ones to take care of. It's been really tough on a lot of families, so we're going to talk a little bit about resources for that today too. Another thing that's come about is a lot of loneliness. People that were already isolated, especially our elderly population here who we're trying so hard to protect right now. A lot of them have gone from having a few visits or a few calls to almost none, being in a high-risk population. So thinking about our neighbors and relatives that are older and might be feeling a little left out and isolated right now. I'm hearing some great stories about folks getting iPhones or iPads out to people and training them how to use them just so they can do video calls with their families and friends and stay connected, and having some good results there, introducing people to new technologies. Another thing that I'm hearing a lot about is confinement issues, and we're seeing some of that in the community and in social media, where some people feel that this is a rights issue instead of a social contract or a health issue. And I'm not taking a side for or against the folks that see it that way. I think it's normal when an authority says, hey, you can't do this or you have to do this. It's totally normal for us to think, why? Explain that to me. Why do I have to do this? And I think that going a few weeks or a few months without a paycheck really makes people wonder, is this going to be for the right ends here? And all I can say is that it is what it is. This is the cards that we're dealt right now, and I hope for our community that we can get through it all without too much damage being done to our mental health and to our ability to get along and cope here. So some advice. Number one is keeping up your healthy daily routine. Maybe you already had a really healthy daily routine and you were exercising and eating right, but being locked down has made that harder. I know in the first few weeks we were doing a lot of cooking and comfort eating and baking cookies, and we've kind of gotten burned out on that now, but that was the first thing to go at the stores was sugar and yeast and flour. And I think it's more important than ever to either start a good health routine or make sure you find ways to maintain it. And I know how hard that can be, when our work and our life is all in one building all day. It's kind of hard to change those hats and say, oh, I've got a lunch break. I'm going to throw on some sweats and go out for a jog. It can be really tough to compartmentalize like that. But with a little bit of practice, it'll help a lot set that baseline mental health up for you. So exercise, eating whole foods, not a lot of junk, avoiding sugars, salts, fried foods, eating things that you can recognize like a pear or a peanut, not things that have a lot of preservatives and fake colors and stuff in them. There's a lot of science behind this. Basically, whole foods are better for your brain, and they help better with sleep and inflammation issues too. So sleep is the next big thing. It can be really tough, especially if we're stressed out. I know at the beginning of all this pandemic, I was waking up a lot at night thinking, what's going to happen? What are we going to do? How long is this going to last? I've kind of eased out of that a little bit, and I hope some of you are too, and seeing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel here. Sleep is very important. Get your rest. Especially if you have kids at home, it's tough, right? You're trying to balance that time out. Maybe you have to work at a home office, or maybe you're an essential worker and you're having troubles finding places for your kids to stay while you're at work. And then to come home and say, I'm just gonna eat a healthy meal, do some yoga, and go to bed. It doesn't always work out that way, but that's the advice I have to share. If there's a way you can fit it in, please find a way. Make room for you, for your self-care. So that's prevention level stuff, right? Living healthy. When that's not enough, there's people you can talk to. You can reach out. There's chat lines. There's social media groups of neighbors and community members, friends and family. Don't be afraid to reach out. It's a unique experience that we're all sharing right now, and it can be very, very stressful to try and go through this feeling alone. So don't do it. When things get really overwhelming or intense, some of the things that I do are splash cold water on my face, like if I'm feeling boxed in, or my wife and I are joking a lot about the Groundhog Day effect. There's a movie called Groundhog Day where every day is the same for this character, and we're losing track of time, and we've chosen to lean into it and laugh about it a little bit. But the other day she was like, did you have a birthday? And I thought, oh, I think I did, yeah, so time going by has changed a little bit. When things are really intense though, to the best of your ability, if you're able, exercise is a great way to combat that kind of stress. Just run it off, hit a punching bag, do some jumping jacks, yoga, anything that gets you in touch with the physical world and out of your head and out of the screens. At any level of stress, it's okay to reach out. Reach out, make a call, set up some counseling. If you've never been before, it's not like on the movies. You're not going to be laying on a couch and telling your life history. It's solution-based. Counselors are trying to help people find ways to cope and reframe situations so that they don't seem as bad in our head. A lot of it's about that. How do we look at something? You ever wonder why the same situation turns someone into a mess and another person just walks right through it? And a lot of times it has to do with perception, and we do have a little bit of power over that. So I've been talking about reaching out. Now let's talk about where do we reach out. So our county's done a great job on their COVID response of setting up a mental health link page. So let's take a look at that page right now, and I will help guide you to it and through it. And I hope that there's some resources on there you guys can get something out of. So thank you, and let's take a look. Okay, here we have the San Juan County webpage, and to get there you just type in sanjuanco.com like you see up here in the left hand corner, and as soon as you get to the page you'll see this bright blue bar. This is for COVID-19 information. It's available in Spanish by clicking over here on the right. So I'm going to click the English version for me. We've got a lot of different links in here, ways to keep track of stuff that the county has and updates as often as possible. On the left-hand side, we've got a link for resources for mental health support. That's what we're going to look at right now. Our county's done an excellent job of laying these out in a hurry for people. In looking at this, we started looking at neighboring counties and what kind of mental health resources they were linking to their COVID response, and found that there weren't a lot. So we wanted to do a better job, and I think you'll see that here. So the first block is outreach and crisis support. A whole lot of phone numbers for people in crisis if you need someone to talk to right now. Then the next one is advocacy and support. We've got information for Safe San Juans, domestic violence support there,
Self-care tools. This is some of that preventative day-to-day stuff we can do to just stay calm overall. There's some breathing exercises, meditations, thoughts on mindfulness, staying in the moment. And I think that that's really important because one of the toughest things to do is realize that we're okay right here, right now. There's so much concern about what might happen. The next block is substance use and recovery. We've got online meetings here, including the local meetings. Um, there's a couple of different approaches online represented here. The 12-step recovery, which most people are familiar with, is AA. And then another approach called cognitive therapy, and that's the Smart Recovery site. We've got some resources here just for parents who are dealing with having kids at home and trying to figure out how to get them through school if they're in it, or how parents are coping with their work from home situations and still trying to take care of kids without any kind of child care help. And then the last one is finding a mental health care provider, with a bunch of links and resources to find someone to talk to. And in doing so, I think it's important to realize that the relationship is probably one of the most important parts, if not the most important part about finding a good provider, is find someone who you communicate well with and go from there. So down here you'll see resource directory links and also some links to people on other islands. I'm on San Juan, so we've got Lopez in here, we've got Orcas in here, and San Juan, and all those wellness programs are there to help people in the community who might be uninsured or underinsured. So don't forget about those resource centers. All right, I hope you guys use this page and find it useful. Please, let us know if there are more resources that you think would be helpful. And thank you.